Sorry. Hi, Eric. Finally, you picked
This
me.
one, you didn't believe I was going to pick you.
Not at all. I didn't believe.
Oh, that's
It's really,
crazy,
really good to
bro.
see you.
That's
I'm actually very excited.
I am. Do you know I am not even going to remove you just because of how excited you are. You know why? Every time somebody says I know to leave, say you go pick me, I just remove them instantly. But just because of how excited you are, I'm going to leave you. You look like an actually a really good person. How are you doing, bro?
Thank you. I'm doing very well. I'm doing good. And you?
Oh, I'm all right. I'm all right. What's your name?
Oh, Bright. Bright
Yeah,
is my name.
you have a bright
Ah,
expression. Love that.
thank you.
Where are you
Thank you.
from?
I'm from Anambra State.
Odogu. I greet you. I greet you.
um,
Where are you based?
currently, I'm in France. Yeah, currently.
You are in
I'm in,
France?
yes, for my master's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh. How is
So,
how's life in France
well,
treat you?
it's interesting. Just like I'm still awake. I'm just like trying to learn new things. Like I'm creating of dashboards, data analysis, and
Yeah.
just a whole lot of things. So it's an experience. So I can't really complain. It's an experience, and
How
I'm
long have
just.
you been in France?
I was here last year. I came last year. Yeah, I
Okay.
started last year.
So you're still pretty much new now.
Mm-hmm.
Still
Yes, of
still
course.
in the do you plan to be in France for much longer?
I think I like the place. Sound like I like the place.
Okay.
So it's just calm. The life in Europe is just very calm and just
It's
reserved
too
and quiet.
it's too quiet
So
for me. I can't deal with that life. I can't. I can't. I tried it, it did not work. Me,
right,
I carry my bag, I run away.
right, I can imagine. So that's just the thing. But comparing the both sides, like Nigeria and everything, yes, Nigeria is always home. Or like I always say, home is
Absolutely,
home.
yeah.
There is no place like home. It's just the ability to just try something new and like break barriers and just like venture into a new journey and
Yep.
probably maybe something can just start something home and just see how it goes.
Sure.
I think that
Sure.
was how I started the page actually. Purposeful Magnets actually was I created it for video editing, social media managing. But there was something you said that I ran with, and I think that was early this year. You pinned a post whereby you were saying how you started your journey as a
Yeah.
photographer. And you said something that sometimes what you said was that you're gonna do whatever the hand finds doing, that you're going to do it and do it very well.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of something because I always thought I was going to be a social media manager, a video editor. I had my hands on so many things. I did so many things way back, like editing, social media, graphics design. Also, I always thought I was going to end up in that space. But when I found myself in data, I felt like I was not in my right space. I was scared that I was leaving what I actually loved
Yeah.
doing. But just as life will always have it, I found myself in this technical industry.
Yeah.
So that day when I was just worried and I was just like thinking, I bumped into your post and it kind of like resonated with me. And the moment I decided to now start putting in the work, I started seeing that I could connect it to design. I could
Yeah.
see the part of dashboard creation. It was beginning to make sense. So and since that day I saw your post, that was the day I just started following you. And I'm really, really, thank you for making that post.
To be honest, I can definitely relate with this because sometimes, especially in our evolution, in our growth as we advance as human beings, sometimes and this is really important, sometimes we try to rebel against certain phases and seasons that we are in simply because it's not what we think we should be doing. I'll give you an example. But for somebody who is in church, for instance, you are in church and you're serving in church and you feel like you have a call on your life to be a pastor or to be sharing the word, to be in that exalted position. But people now see that you have a gift for photography. And so every time they are looking for where to put you, they are putting you in media department. And you're gifted for that, but that's not what you want to be doing. Like you want to be doing that spiritual, that thing. And in your head, there is no direct link between where they are putting you and where you actually want to be and where you want to be serving. And so we want to rebel against that post because of what we see ourselves doing, what we desire more. And that's often a mistake. It's often a mistake. I think that in our evolution as human beings, in our growth, especially as someone in their teenagers, in their 20s, in
Yeah.
even early 30s, right? We are doing a lot of stumbling upon. We're going to do a lot of stumbling upon. We're going to do a lot of discovering that phases. Well into your 40s, you're going to be doing a lot of discovery. And so whatever it is that you have the skills for and that you have that you are available to do, like fully explore that. Fully. I've been doing content for like 13 years now, but
13 years.
in,
Wow.
in in those 13 years, I have also done a lot of other things. I've been a photographer for a long time. While I was like doing content on the side, I was fully into photography, right? Portrait
Mm.
photography was my thing. I've been a film director, I've been a filmmaker, produced, directed a couple of movies, and you don't really
Wow.
see how. And all the while, I was thinking
Yeah.
to myself, I really want to share the word. I really want to share God's word. I really want to reach out to people. And I don't see the direction between there and what I want to do. But at some point, you're just going to have to like, I trust God, right? I'm just going to give myself to the season. I'm just going to give myself to what He's trying to do, and not fight these things because of this idea I have in my head. It'll work out. It really will. And so throughout those seasons, I even at some point my hunger drove me abroad. I went to go and study blockchain tech and really got into the really technical bits of it. And you don't see how
Wow.
it connects. But all these experiences, it's one giant web that that's kind of like it's not leading you into your life, it is your life. It's all
Okay.
connected. And at some point it makes sense. Maybe one day in our 50s we'll look back and we'll say, thank God I didn't waste this season trying to chase this other one, because it later came and it was even more beautiful because I did not waste this season. So I can 100% relate to what you're talking about. Absolutely. And
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
and I'm glad for your current phase, your current,
Yeah.
where you are. It'll work out. I promise you it will. It will all
How
work
do you
out.
separate passion with, let's say, do you believe that actually, let's say your passion, do you think your passion should be something you do full time? Because at some point, I was kind of like asking myself some questions like, okay, let's say God has called you in the music space. But what about the other part of our lives that has to do with, let me say, survival, that has to do with
Yeah.
development? What
Yeah.
happens to that part of our life?
So it's like your passion can either be you can give yourself fully to the pursuit of your passion if it is something that you can readily and immediately monetize and survive off of, right? It's easy. And then obviously when your passion becomes your full-time work, you will find out that you're not very you find out that it's not very exciting. It very quickly becomes work. Right?
Okay.
Work. I'm passionate about content creating until you find yourself as a full-time content creator, and then you realize this thing is work,
Yep.
right? Yeah, but
Right.
then, how do you find that balance? If you're passionate about it, you're really never going to let it die. Even in seasons when it's not monetizable, you will find stuff to keep you afloat while you still really nurture that, especially if it has the potential to, because you have got to consider the reality of life. Yes, God has called you to do this, yes, but the reality of life is you need to provide value and receive value in return, right? So
Okay.
if there's something that you can't readily exchange with value or exchange for value, by value I mean money or any other kind of resource, then
Mhm.
um you need to survive. That's the reality of it. I've seen people suffering because, see, I've done missionary work, so I've seen people really suffering
Mm.
just because they took on a passion and ignored everything else. And
Mm.
when you do that, you will very easily find that
To
people
burn
don't,
out.
yeah, and then you will begin
Mhm.
to question the validity of that your passion in the
True.
first place, whether it's worth it. But it is worth it, but you can't ignore the reality of life as it is. So yeah, if you are at a point in life when that's something that you can face squarely and exchange, do it in exchange for value in the short term, absolutely. But if you cannot, keep it alive, nurse it,
Mm.
um while you're growing, and it will become something at some point.
So what will be your take on this verdict that says doing what you have to do before you can do what you want to do?
Doing what you want to do is overrated.
Okay.
In my experience, it's very overrated. Doing what you want
Okay.
to do, because really, think about it. What you want to do is subjective. What you want to do is very deterministic. And what I mean by that is, what you want to do strongly depends on the information that you've been exposed to,
Hmm.
right?
Okay. Yes.
That's really what makes up what you want to do. What you want to do strongly depends on where you were born, right? The circumstances that surrounded that. And when I'm talking about birth, I'm not just talking about physical birth. It can also be like where you were enlightened, right?
Okay.
The circumstances that surrounded you, the people that surrounded you, contributed to crafting that idea in your mind, and not only crafting the idea, but bringing you into a place where you romanticize the idea. You really saw yourself doing that because you saw it elsewhere. So it's all dependent on the information that was available to you, right?
Okay.
That's what got you to that place. So the more that you grow, the more that more light hits you. Like 20 years ago, nobody will tell me that I would pursue a degree in blockchain. I would get it. I would write papers. I will consult for companies. I'll be working in the space, right? Nobody, because 20 years ago, it wasn't even around. I mean, it
Yes.
was
It was, but it
around,
wasn't
but
pronounced.
yes,
Hmm.
right? Um, so we continue to grow, we continue to expand. I was speaking at a conference a couple of weeks ago, Boy Code, and I was telling them one of the best things you can do to yourself is expose yourself to knowledge, right?
Hmm.
And I'm not saying this just because I have a conference coming up, but it's like attend these conferences, meet these people, put yourself in the way of knowledge. Knowledge is wisdom. Like the Bible says, wisdom stands at the doorpost, at the gates. It stands at the entry of the, and it just shouts, right? But so put yourself in a place where you can come in contact with something that you did not know before, with people that
Hmm.
you've not met before, and it exposes you to stuff that you previously would not have encountered. And if you are in the right community, things that you love, especially in a way that isn't really eternal or concerns spirituality, in a way that concerns your career and your existence in this, on this side of eternity, in this world, it's
Yes.
constantly going to evolve. You may have one love, one big love, but yeah, you will also find other things that you are incredibly passionate about. So I would say, what's the balance between what you have to do and what you want to do? What you want to do is not that deep. Most of the time, it's not that deep. Most of the time, it just depends on a lot of factors that you did not dictate. That it's
Hmm.
just happenstance where you were when you came in contact with something, and how the people around there felt about it. You shift, you come in contact with new knowledge, new information, and it's very likely that if you see how people romanticize it or how people fail to see it, because that's also something that brings people to a point where they love stuff. People favor the underdog. So when ideas are often trampled upon, some people just fall in love with an idea because other people despise it. It happens.
True.
Stuff like that
Yes, yes,
happens.
yes.
So yeah, we evolve, we grow, and if I have to do this right now, believe that I will prioritize it over whatever my feeling is saying. And at a point, if I come to a point in my life where I have enough liberty, enough freedom to then choose, not because I have to, then we can start talking about the things that I want to do. That's just my take on that.
And to be honest, what you just said, it resonated very well with me because over the course of these masters, I've kind of like understood that okay, I love music, I'm in data, I still love the social media space. And at one time I realized that all these things are connected.
Yeah.
I started seeing the connectivity, okay, literally, I've not actually seen it before where you have a content creator or so, not necessarily because there's not someone really, really doing it,
Yeah.
but then I saw myself like, okay, how about we start analyzing sound and music and the metrics? How about we start talking about the data aspect of
Yeah.
it and put it in a storytelling mode and start from there? I mean, it was making sense. This was something I never thought about before. But the moment I started studying this program, I kind of like began to see like diverse areas of it, and it kind of, and I really resonate with what you were saying when you're talking about starting what you have to do, and things evolve over time. Things
Yep.
evolve. There was a time data was not really pronounced. There was a time it wasn't all over
Absolutely.
the place, just like it is now.
Yeah.
Same thing with crypto and blockchain and all of it, and it keeps evolving. I remember like how many, almost like 15 years ago, it's quite been long. There was a day my friend, back then in 26, 24, in school. So we were at the computer room and the way he typed on Google was funny. He said, "Hello Google, good morning. I want to get an information concerning this topic in geography,
Yeah.
something." And when I looked at that, I laughed. That was 2006, 2005. I was like, why would you start a search engine like this? And today, as I was walking past, I just paused and I told myself, what are we doing with ChatGPT now? Is
Yeah.
ChatGPT not beginning to be this user friendly?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, if this guy was close to me, I would tell him that, bro, maybe you saw the future when you were putting a search engine that way. So to connect it all back to things evolving over time, I really like relate with what you're saying, 100%.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. I mean, I actually like, I don't just like, genuinely seek out people who can see the future. That's why I deeply respect people like Mark Zuckerberg, and deeply respect, even though yeah, they have their very serious, very very flawed guy, but that aspect of him, it's fascinating. Another person that I see that even more in is Gary Vaynerchuk,
Oh,
even though
Gary V.
yeah, I wouldn't recommend, if for somebody who doesn't have a filter in their spirit, I wouldn't recommend listening to Gary Vee, because dude swears a lot. Like, he
He
swears a
swears
lot. He swears
a whole lot.
a whole lot. But if you're able to get past that, he sees the future.
Yeah.
People who are able to imagine stuff. Everybody's fascinated by the innovations of today, right? And this is, bro, like, let me just say this. If you're here, you're in or around Lagos, please be at my conference in 2 weeks. Absolutely.
I would have loved
Absolutely.
to.
Be at my conference. It's
Whenever I
going
see
to
your
be the best
conference
thing to
going
happen
on,
to your mind. Honestly.
whenever I see it going on, I'm like, shoot, I'm not around. It's always, but I wish there's a link or something for us to join. Like for the ones in the diaspora to just
Yeah.
join, that would be amazing.
We'll we'll
So that
we'll,
it's
we'll
okay.
try to make that work. But yeah, when people are often very fascinated with new technologies, but then the future will belong to those who are able to see it before others catch on. People who are able to create it. That's what we are. We, as human beings, we're all creators. We create the future if we can think it. I did my house last year. This time last year, I wasn't thinking about doing any book tour. It was one day I woke up and decided I'm going to do a book tour.
Well,
Right? I saw it, and then all the resources came together, and align. This conference that we're doing, it was when I started the book tour that I said to myself, no, we can actually, like, this book tour came together. We can do a big conference. And so just because one person saw it, like I'm able to see it, it will happen, right? And beyond convention, we'll have it, we'll do it in France, we'll do it in Australia,
That would
we'll
be
do it
amazing.
in. It's not a prophecy, bro. It's opulo yotalo, opulo prophecy. Opulo
All
prophecy.
facts.
It's a
Yeah, yeah,
statement
man.
of fact, right?
The Bible says that a man think it's so easy.
Right. So it's like, if you can see, and these are the kinds of people I like to surround myself with, those who appreciate the present, but we're not overly fascinated by the idea of it. And I don't know any intelligent, forward thinking, any excellent thinker who is not troubled, or who is not troublesome. And the reason is, that's the consequence of that kind of thinking, because someone comes to me and is like, um ha- did you get what I sent? Maybe an SD card. I'm like, yeah, I got it. And like, did you like it? And in my mind, I'm thinking, it works. My response is usually, it works, or it's okay. You will rarely ever get an "it's good" from me, or "it's excellent" from me. And that's a problem for the people that I work with, obviously. But it gives you an insight into how I see things. I'm not just fascinated by the idea that it works today. And yes, somebody may say it steals from your appreciation of what's happening. I absolutely appreciate the present, but I'm not overly consumed or fascinated by it, because I am looking at what it can be. But at some point, I hope I stop. But right now, I'm a young man, or at least I think so, right? And I'm looking at what things can be. These are the kinds of people that I surround myself with, people that um see the fantastic thing that you're doing, and tell you, you know what, take 2 days off, really just enjoy yourself. When you get back to work, there's how we can do this to make it better. And yeah, that's just where that's where I am as a person.
I think it makes a lot of sense now. So literally, you do your content creation and you have your full-time thing still going on
Yeah,
at the same time.
I mean, it's a lot of work, but like the Bible says in the book of Lamentations, it's better for a young man that he bear his burden in the days of his youth.
True.
So there's that.
Yeah.
But it's been great chatting with you, bro. It's been
Thank you very
absolutely
much. Thank you,
fantastic.
Eric. Thank you. Appreciate. Thank you for bringing me up. I learned
all,
a whole lot in your life.
all the
Thank you,
best.
and thank you for that photography post. Thank you.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Have a good
Appreciate
one. Cheers,
it.
bro.
You too. Have a good
Bye.
bye. Thank you. Bye.